In 1876, Dr. Jacob Lanterman and Adolphus Williams purchased 6,000 acres of the La Crescenta Valley in Los Angeles County. Impacted by treating victims of the 1906 San Francisco earthquake and fires, Dr. Roy Lanterman, Jacob's youngest son, built an unusual house on the land for his wife Emily and their 2 boys, Frank and Lloyd. A fireproof house made entirely out of reinforced concrete. So for starts, this house was made entirely out of concrete.
Yes, poured reinforced concrete, and that is because Dr. Lanterman was recruited by William Randolph Hearst himself to run an emergency hospital in San Francisco after the earthquake in 1906, and Roy Lanterman was there to witness the city of San Francisco basically burning down. And so when he had made what he felt was enough money to build his dream house on family property in La Cañada and moved back from Los Angeles to La Cañada, he went searching for an architect. It was much more important to find an architect who knew how to work with concrete, a non-flammable material, than an architect whose work they admired, or for that matter, had never built a house before, because the fellow they hired, Arthur Haley, had never built a residence before. He had only built office buildings. This is very obviously the room that belonged to the lady of the house, to Emily Lanterman. It's very different than the other public rooms.
The room kind of replicates her upbringing.
Right. Kind of interesting things is when the house was being built, they were not entirely sure. Neither electricity nor gas lines had made it to La Cañada when the construction began in 1914. And it turned out that electrical lines got here first, and so the house was in fact wired for electricity, and these were never used. But it was as well, in every room there is a gas fixture, just in case they needed that as a backup. Look at the kitchen.
Oh, wow. Nice and bright.
Yes, beautiful. Once again, all these windows. And this is, as you can see, one of the only rooms in the house that doesn't have the elaborate hand-painted work on the walls, but as old-fashioned as it looks now, this was as modern a kitchen as you could possibly have in 1915, with a built-in ice box and a built-in pastry-making area. The lady of the house was not so interested in meals, but she was very interested in baking, and so she had a marble-topped pastry-making area. One of the things that is kind of crazy is these tables are not original. We use them to show all this wonderful kitchen equipment that we have from the family. But the counter space was non-existent. In the kitchen itself, there was that, and the rest of it, the food prep area, really was the little pantry over here. And you know, we put such a premium on counter space nowadays, and there was none. Here, so you have a peek at this room. This was their breakfast room. They called it the sun room for obvious reasons. And this was really where they had most of their meals, not in the dining room, but it has this gorgeous mural on the walls. Imagine, you know, being able to eat your eggs and toast in this room.
It's a nice breakfast room.
Gorgeous breakfast room. And the mural is a very fanciful depiction of the Crescenta, Cañada Valley. It has it has oak trees, and it has some of the native flora, but there's never been that much water.
This is beautiful. Their elder son, Frank Lanterman, grew up to become a very influential California State Assemblyman. Younger son, Lloyd Lanterman, became an accomplished theater organist for silent movie houses and venues worldwide. But both men were to remain bachelors and lived in the Lanterman House for the duration of their lives. Their mother, Emily, had the entire top floor made into a beautiful ballroom in hopes to engage her sons in high society dances and to meet refined ladies.
Yes, her intentions were that this ballroom be used for, Sunday afternoon cotillions, and her sons would be able to, their friends from Los Angeles would come up with their daughters for the weekend, and they would have nice dances, and her husband and her sons would meet nice girls, and none of that happened. As we've said, both of the boys were being bachelors their entire lives. But this room was intended to be used for dances, and it sadly during Emily's lifetime was never used for that purpose.
Oh my goodness!
Never. And in fact, we use it ourselves, the Lanterman Foundation, for all kinds of events that involve music and dancing. It has wonderful acoustics for music, but during her lifetime, that was never the case. He did use it for dinner parties and little, dramatic readings and recitals and that kind of thing, but never for a dance. But it's a gorgeous room with these beautiful pastel colors, the roses that grow up out of the walls and the ceiling. It's a domed trompe-l'oeil ceiling, so it looks like it's made by the sky. And there's been Roy Lanterman had this house built and moved his family up here because he wanted them to be able to take advantage of the climate, and for his sons to have the same kind of youth that he had. And the two bedrooms that are not set up as bedrooms downstairs were actually the boys' bedrooms, and they're kind of feminine. One of them is very feminine. And the sons did not sleep down there. They slept in cot beds out here on this porch, this sleeping porch, which their father had added on during construction of the house. It was not original to the plans, and he decided that they needed to have a place where they could sleep in the open air. The boys did.
So it seems to me that Dr. Roy and Frank and Lloyd preferred a more rustic existence.
Very much so.
And then Miss Emily was more refined.
Yes, oh yes.
She had more refined taste.
He'd come from a different background than a much more refined background than her husband had. And she had very refined taste, as you can see by the interior decoration of the house, which she was responsible for. She had exquisite taste, but she was unable to pass that on to her sons. Her sons really did, they had a choice between, going up in the mountains and going fishing, with their dad, or staying here and going to a poetry reading in the ballroom with their mom. There wasn't any question what they were going to do.
Emily Lanterman's longtime dream of holding elegant balls in her home is at last a reality today, as the Lanterman Foundation hold their ragtime tea dance and other events in her prestigious ballroom every year. So don your vintage best and join the fun.
What a beautiful day for a wedding in May. See the people all stare at the lovable pair. She's a vision of joy. He's the luckiest boy in his wedding array. Hear him smilingly say.
So whenever you visit any of the participating Passport to History sites, make sure you get your passport stamp. Keeping track of your travels is certainly part of the fun. Thanks for stamping our passport.
Thank you very much for the tour, Melissa. And what is the website where people can find out more about the Lanterman House and all the events you have going on?
You can get directions, and you can get event information and a virtual tour of the house by visiting the website at www.lantermanfoundation.org.
Terrific.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.